Immediately after that, Zhang Yi met with Uncle Wang and the group of young people from the building. Zhang Yi, we're here, one person said. Oh, wait here, I'll tell them to come down and get the stuff. After a while, the group from other buildings arrived. Okay, everyone come over and get the stuff. The plan is about to succeed. Looking at everyone's haggard faces due to lack of food and proper nourishment, Zhang Yi was distributing food to everyone. Meanwhile, the red-haired Wang Kang turned around, signaling to the others to get ready for their turn. The young man shouted, Building 21. It was red-haired Wang Kang's turn. Zhang Yi turned back and sat down to get the food. Suddenly, there was a loud shout from Wang Kang. Attack! He then pulled out a gun and pointed it at Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi was startled, breaking out in a cold sweat. Bang! 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 3 shots were fired. At the dangerous moment, Uncle Wang rushed forward to block the bullets. 3 shots pierced through Uncle Wang, allowing Zhang Yi to narrowly escape death. Zhang Yi screamed in agony. Uncle Wang collapsed, and from behind, a blonde subordinate from the same building as Zhang Yi attempted to launch a sneak attack. Zhang Yi had already been alert and quickly drew a rifle from his spatial storage. He angrily shouted, I was wrong. It won't be like this next time. The blonde young man, filled with panic, was taken aback. Zhang Yi, blood rushing to his head, continuously fired, All of you must die. So Zhang Yi fired his weapon repeatedly, helping those people log out of the Earth server. After a series of gunshots, bodies lay scattered in the snow. The rest fled in terror. How does he have a rifle? Run. Another person was shot through the heart, eyes wide open, dead before he could close them. After a moment of firing, the rifle ran out of ammo, the barrel smoking. Zhang Yi tossed the rifle into the snow and continued to take out 2 handguns. Uncle Wang, thank you for taking the bullet for me. I will take revenge for you and kill every one of them. Zhang Yi, this has nothing to do with us. I swear this has nothing to do with me. Don't kill me. Zhang Yi turned around and coldly aimed directly at Wang Kang and Huang Tianfang and shot. Both fell immediately. Remaining was Shenling Yu, trembling. This has nothing to do with me. Please believe me. She clasped her hands in prayer, tears beginning to flow. I have a 13-year-old daughter. I need to live. She is waiting for me to come back. Bang! A shot pierced Shenling Yu very coldly and decisively. Sorry. I don't have the habit of forgiving. After dealing with the traitors, there were many corpses on the snow. Zhang Yi turned around when he heard Uncle Wang's voice. He quickly ran to his side. Uncle Wang, are you alive? Zhang Yi hurriedly took out a syringe of painkiller and hemostatic medicine, injecting it into Uncle Wang's chest. Come help, he shouted, and the 2 people nearby startled and replied, yes. Quickly save him. Carry him to my house. Zhang Yi reminded, be gentle. Uncle Wang was taken away on a stretcher. Si Lai Mai, upon hearing the news, rushed over carrying her child, tears streaming down her face. Brother Wang, what happened to you? You mustn't have anything happen to you. If something happens to you, how will my child and I live? Zhang Yi felt powerless in the face of her acting skills. She continued to perform, if you die, what will my child and I do? I would rather die together. Why did you do this, taking bullets for others? What will happen to your life? Zhang Yi, my husband won't die, right? Zhang Yi reassured her. Don't worry, he should be fine. I will do my best to save him. Zhao Kaini is the chief doctor at the big hospital. With her, there's hope for Uncle Wang's wounds to heal. Xi Lai Mei cried, if my husband dies, I don't want to live anymore. But for his sake, please take good care of my child. Uncle Wang is not dead yet. Have you arranged everything like this? Zhang Yi frowned and turned away. No, I definitely hope my husband lives healthily. Xi Lai Mei watched Zhang Yi, thinking to herself, this is the source of income and long-term care that I have carefully chosen. If he has taken a bullet for you, I don't need to worry anymore. Zhang Yi bowed his head in gratitude and then went upstairs to start the surgery to remove the bullet from Uncle Wang. Xi Lai Mei firmly stated, he needs someone by his side now. I won't leave him. Young Zhang Yi turned to look at Uncle Wang, who was lying in pain, which stirred his heart. He let Xi Lai Mei in, then opened the door and stepped into the house himself. As soon as she entered, Xi Lai Mei triumphantly said, I finally got to come inside. Since the cold snap hit, I've always dreamed of living in this house. It's so warm, with fresh food and a heater. Now I will also enjoy those things. At that moment, Xi Lai Mei seemed to have no regard for Uncle Wang anymore. She went down to the kitchen, grabbed a drink, and drank as if she were dying of thirst. Zhang Yi, does your house have any baby formula? What did you say? Zhang Yi seemed to be getting angry, his whole body aflame. Seeing him irritated, Xi Lai Mei spoke more softly. My child also needs to drink something. She gently reminded Zhang Yi, my husband loves our child very much. Ignoring C. Laimai's words, Zhang Yi replied coldly, "Come over here and help, otherwise I will kick you out." He put the items into the space storage to clear the area. Then, along with C. Laimai and Zhao Kai Ni, they carried the stretcher into the room. Zhang Yi took out the necessary medical equipment from his space storage. Seeing this, C. Laimai curiously asked, "Are you using magic?" Zhang Yi instructed Zhao Kai Ni, "No matter what you have to do, you must save Uncle Wang. Whatever medicine and equipment you need, just tell me, I will provide it for you." Zhou Kai Nei quickly got to work, cutting away Uncle Wang's clothing while responding, "I will do my best." After a while, Zhang Yi asked, "How is it going? Is it possible to save him?" Zhou Kai Nei sighed. "The situation is not very optimistic. The bullet has affected the internal organs. Given the current conditions, it is very likely that we cannot save him." Xi Lai Mei continued to act, holding her face and crying bitterly. "What should we do if he is no longer here?" Zhang Yi saw this and became furious, shouting, "Shut up! Don't interfere with Uncle Wang's surgery. If anything happens because of you, you know the consequences." Si Lai Mei conceded, "Maybe I should go outside. I can't help anything here. I don't understand surgeries. Staying here will only cause more trouble." In her mind, she thought, "There are a lot of snacks outside, plus a sofa and hot water. Who'd want to stay here?" Zhang Yi countered, "This surgery is about your husband's life, so you need to stay here to help. Wipe the sweat, bring the necessary items. You have to do everything." Seeing that Si Lai Mai seemed uncooperative, Zhang Yi pulled out a handgun. "Even if you don't know what to do, your presence here is the biggest encouragement for Uncle Wang, right?" Seeing the gun pointed at her, Si Lai Mei was frightened and nodded. Zhang Yi continued, "Let's make that decision. You stay here, I'll step outside for a bit." Outside, Zhang Yi met a few other people. They affirmed, "The ones who ambush you have nothing to do with us. We are the most loyal to you. The betrayers launched a stealth attack, injuring Uncle Wang. We must take revenge." Zhang Yi replied, "Tonight we will counterattack." "Counterattack? Just the few of us? How can we do that? Is there still something he can use? There's no need for everyone to worry about this. I've dealt with the people in this building already. You all are responsible for keeping an eye out around. If you notice anyone jumping down from upstairs, eliminate them immediately." The young man Zhang Yi led his team to building 21. He pointed and shouted, "Quickly surround this building." The people in the building looked down, horrified to see Zhang Yi. Some trembled, holding their heads and mumbling, "It's over, we are all doomed. We cannot fight against that monster. He is too terrifying." Others seemed tougher, holding weapons at the ready. "What are we afraid of? This is our territory. Even if he has a gun, if he breaks in, he will have to leave some blood behind." Zhang Yi commanded his team, "Watch the windows, the enemy may jump out to escape." One person replied, "Understood." Seeing Zhang Yi enter the building, someone thought to himself, "What is he planning to do?" Zhang Yi jumped in through a window. Noticing the area was deserted, he took out a pile of wood and flammable materials from his space storage. Then, Zhang Yi poured gasoline over the pile of wood. Someone inside the building shouted, "What is Zhang Yi doing?" As Zhang Yi spread gasoline across the ground floor of the building, he mumbled, "Now the fuel is ready, and the fuse is sufficient to burn until I withdraw." After that, he pulled out a lighter and said, "In this cold weather, I'm too kind to let you freeze. Especially lighting a fire to warm you up. Remember to thank me." The fire quickly spread, bursting into flames. Zhang Yi made his way back out through the snow tunnel. By now, smoke was billowing heavily from Building 21. He pointed towards the building and said to his team, "Let the game begin." Inside Building 21, the thick smoke made everyone inside cough violently. They even set the building on fire. "Quick, open the windows to let the smoke out." The dense smoke stunned the eyes, and someone shouted, "Ah, my eyes. I can't see anything." Another person sighed in disappointment. "Dan, all the exits are blocked. If we break the windows, toxic smoke will pour in from outside. Let's run." Downstairs, Zhang Yi pulled out a gun, glanced up, and muttered, "This scene is just like the meeting at the university. The only difference is that this fire is bigger and fiercer." At this moment, the flames had engulfed the entire building. Some people inside could no longer stand it and jumped down. The sound of a heavy object hitting the snow echoed in the frigid weather. Those who jumped down died instantly. Zhang Yi's group witnessed this scene, with some commenting, "They really turned the whole building into a cage. They can only wait there to die. Either jump down and die or get killed at the exit." That many people jumped from above. Some died on the spot, while others gasped and cried out, "Too hot! Save me!" This was the moment when Zhang Yi's group began to act. A club struck down, followed by a knife plunging straight in. The two people standing beside were stunned by the sight. A person approached to compliment the girl who was actively killing. "Lai Yunan, amazing. You used to be afraid to even kill a chicken, and now you're killing people. without hesitation. Lai Yun smiled and replied, "Everyone is trying to serve Zhang Yi. I can't hold back." Another person jumped down and was gasping for breath. Lai Yun said, "Ah, there's one more here. Let me take care of him." She thrust her weapon forcefully, ending the life of the other person. Zhang Yi stood observing the fire closely and remarked, "This fire looks beautiful. If we could do it a few more times, that would be even better." Meanwhile, in the building across, someone seen Building 21 on fire was sweating in fear. What should we do? Is Zhang Yi going to use this method against us? There's no way we can compete with him. Wang Kai had meticulously planned to ambush him, but still failed. How can we possibly fight against him? Another person suggested, "It's okay, Zhang Yi definitely won't kill everyone. He's not insane. If you have an enemy, you must take revenge. If you have a debt, you must pay it. If we don't get involved, he won't come looking for us." These people were still dreaming about a rosy scenario, but life is not a dream, and the results are often full of surprises. After Building 21 was engulfed in flames, Zhang Yi commanded, "Let's go. We're moving to the next building. Let's go give it our all." His group headed towards Building 26. From above, a frightened voice shouted, "Huang Tianfang is dead. We have nothing to do with this. Don't mistake us for bad people." Zhang Yi laughed and shouted, "Mistake good people. Are you even worthy of being called good people? Those who survived in this building each have killed at least 5 people. Whether you're good or not doesn't matter. The result is that I will wipe you all out quickly and decisively." The young man began pouring gasoline around the building and a great fire erupted. This scene terrified the people. Has he gone mad? All 5 buildings involved in the attack have been burned down by him. Zhang Yi thought to himself while holding the loudspeaker, "Cleaning up completely in one night is still too much of a stretch. Before this round ends, I need to finish a few more things." He declared loudly through the loudspeaker, "Rest assured, everyone, I, Zhang Yi, will kill all opponents but will not harm innocent people. Those who are friendly to me will not be purged, so there's nothing to fear." A crowd was buzzing. "Great, he doesn't intend to kill us. It's those who attacked him that should die. He is still a good person. He won't kill indiscriminately." As the flames gradually faded, Zhang Yi ordered, "All right, today's mission is over. Go back and rest." Some people still wanted to linger by the fire, adding wood to keep warm. It's up to you, but remember to add wood so the fire doesn't go out. A corpse was thrown into the fire. Zhang Yi saw the 2 traitors dead in front of him and thought, "They're dead now, and I didn't treat them badly, yet they suddenly betrayed me." He took a phone from the pocket of one traitor and opened the recording of their conversation to review. After listening, Zhang Yi quickly understood the situation and thought, "So that's how it is." Then he entered the room where Uncle Wang was recovering. Seeing the situation was promising, with all the machines showing stable readings, Zhang Yi sighed in relief and said to Zhou Kai Ni, "It seems everything is fine now. Thank you, it was hard work for you." Zhou Kai Ni happily replied, "I'm very glad to be able to help you." At that moment, Si Lai Mai entered carrying her child and said, "Zhang Yi, we have been hungry all day. Can you get something to eat for me and my child?" Zhang Yi looked at Si Lai Mi coldly and said, "You really know how to ask for things. Let's just ignore her. Taking care of Uncle Wang is the important thing right now." He then took out a box from the storage space. "Just take whatever is in here to eat. After all, you are part of Uncle Wang's family and I won't let you go hungry." Seeing the box drop from Zhang Yi's hands, Si Lai Mei was startled. "How did you manage to get these things out?" Then Zhang Yi threw his arm around Zhou Kai Ni and walked away. Si Lai Mei looked into the box and mumbled, "Is it just instant noodles? Is there anything else? I saw eggs in the kitchen and there were chicken bones in the trash." Zhang Yi turned around and replied, "It's only instant noodles. Are you going to eat or not? If not, then forget it." Si Lai Mei felt awkward. "Ah, no, it's fine. Instant noodles are good." After going outside, Zhou Kai Nei sat down on the sofa and complained, "That's it. The house has another problem now." Zhang Yi sat down and massaged her feet, saying, "Don't worry, it won't be complicated." Then he worriedly asked, "How is Uncle Wang's health? How long will it take to fully recover? Or is it just a temporary revival?" Zhou Kai Nei quickly replied, "He is badly injured, has lost a lot of blood, and I don't have any blood bags. At first, I thought it would be hard to save him. The blood bag issue was due to your oversight in not preparing one. So how did you manage to save him?" A response that left Zhang Yi speechless. His heart had stopped, but then it started beating again. The muscles rapidly regained strength, and the blood loss decreased significantly. Hearing this, Zhang Yi silently analyzed. The cause of the global freezing phenomenon was the explosion from a gamma ray. Because of it, there is a special ability not just for me. It is very likely that others have also awakened their own abilities. He stood up and concluded, Uncle Wang's condition is exactly like mine when I was about to die. The risk of death is a condition to awaken special abilities, but without anyone's help, the chance of death remains very high. If he had met me, he would surely have died. After that, he reminded Zhao Ni, from now on, every day you should give Uncle Wang a dose of muscle relaxant or tranquilizer to manage his body. But remember, it must not affect his health. Zhao Ni wondered, do you think Uncle Wang has special abilities like you? Zhang Yi nodded. That's quite possible. We have no experience in this matter. If he wakes up and loses control, he could destroy this whole house. Hearing Zhang Yi say that, Zhao Ni reassured him. Leave this to me. You are tired today, so get some rest early. She asked further, what about Uncle Wang? Do you think it's all right for Xi Lai Mi to take care of him? As Zhang Yi reached the door, he replied, although that woman is annoying, at least she is not stupid. If anything happens to Uncle Wang, I will kick her out immediately, so you don't need to worry. Once in the living room, Zhang Yi called Xi Lai Mi. Sister Xi, from now on you and Uncle Wang will share a room, so you can take care of him at night. Xi Lai Mi agreed. Okay, I'll go in right away. Xi Lai Mi immediately opened the door and walked into the room. Zhang Yi followed her with his gaze, thinking to himself, I completely forgot about the emergency. Now I have to deal with the spy of the building. In the corridor of Building 25, Zhang Yi took out a police shield and a handgun. He wore a flashlight on his head. Quickly, he shot the lock and entered a room. Suddenly, a woman inside screamed loudly and threw something at Zhang Yi. Die! Zhang Yi easily deflected it with the shield and realized it was a knife. The knife bounced back towards the woman. He coldly said, Long time no see, Fang Wu Ting. On the table next to him was a corpse missing both arms and legs. Zhang Yi paused at the sight. I never expected you to survive this long, he sneered. You've really wasted the author's ink by living this long. Fang Wu Ting glared at Zhang Yi and shouted angrily, Zhang Yi, why are you still alive? Those worthless scum, with so many of them, couldn't even kill you. What a useless bunch. Zhang Yi took out a baton and looked at her as he said, do you think that secretly contacting Wang Kang's group and inciting Jiang Lai and Lai Chengbin would be enough to kill me? Fang Wuting seemed to go mad, shouting, It's all your fault. I clearly just needed to hold on a little longer and I would have agreed with you. But in the end, you chose another woman. You deserve to die. Zhang Yi shook his head and replied, I have no interest in arguing with you. After finishing his words, he slammed the stick down hard and Fang Wuting screamed in pain. Zhang Yi grabbed her hair and pulled her towards the window. She, terrified, pleaded, Zhang Yi, please spare me. I don't want to die. I beg you. Zhang Yi pushed her out the window, coldly saying, You brought this upon yourself. Then he let go. Fang Wuting screamed in horror as she fell down. A sound echoed, not too loud because below was white snow. Fang Wuting sank deep into the snow. Her fate was clear. Zhang Yi watched the scene, still not satisfied. This death is too easy for you. This death could not be more beautiful for Fang Wuting. The next day, in Uncle Wang's room, Zhao Ni, while checking his condition, said, Uncle Wang is recovering very quickly. His self-healing speed is 10 times faster than that of an ordinary person. Hearing this, Zhang Yi's eyes lit up as he said, I understand now. Take good care of him. We must do everything to save him. Zhao Ni continued to inject medicine into Uncle Wang. After a while, as Zhang Yi and Zhao Ni were preparing to leave the room, Xi Lai Mi called out, Zhang Yi, I forgot to bring the charger and diapers for the baby. Can you please get them for me? Zhang Yi glanced at Uncle Wang and thought to himself, I remember that someone in a coma can still hear sounds. He turned to Xi Lai Mi and smiled faintly. I have many urgent matters to handle. Let's put your issue aside for now. Then Zhang Yi quickly closed the door and left. He thought to himself, it's time to clean up the remaining troublesome people. He went to the burned buildings and cleared out most of the enemies. The ones still alive were no longer a threat. After that, he told his group, we'll stop the cleansing here for today. We'll deal with the remaining ones later. Suddenly, someone glanced at Zhang Yi and then approached him. Zhang Yi immediately asked, what's the matter? The person happily replied, Brother Zhang, I have important news to report to you. Zhang Yi asked again, important news? What could be more important after I've settled this apartment complex? The person hesitated. Brother Zhang, have you heard about the $10 billion disaster shelter? It was invested and built by Wang Siming, the son of the richest billionaire in Jiangnan. Zhang Yi asked again, do you know where that shelter is located? There are too many people here. Let's go home and discuss it more thoroughly. When they entered the building, Zhang Yi seemed rushed. There's no one here now. Tell me what you have to say. Wang Siming's shelter is actually located in the Manor area villa. The villas he owns there are worth up to $2.5 billion. If it's that place, then it truly befits the position of the son of the richest billionaire. Zhang Yi frowned. But why are you telling me this? Xu Hao replied, I'm telling you because I hope to follow you. As long as you let me be your subordinate, we can take that shelter together. Zhang Yi smirked. Do you think I'm stupid? Why would you tell me about such a good place? Not to mention, a high-end shelter like that is not easy to seize. Xu Hao hurriedly explained. Even though I know the place, Wang Ximing is the master there right now. I can't seize it by myself. In fact, he already knew about you and contacted me. He even actively suggested I take you there, then take the opportunity to grab your supplies and snowmobiles. Upon hearing this, Zhang Yi's eyes flashed with anger. Xu Hao quickly raised both hands to express, but at that time, I refused him. No matter how reckless I am, I wouldn't dare touch you. Zhang Yi asked, how can you ensure this isn't a trap? You all want to lure me in to eliminate me. Suddenly, Zhang Yi pointed a gun at Xu Hao's head. I could shoot you right now. Seeing the gun pointed at his head, Xu Hao was extremely terrified, sweat pouring down his body. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Everything I'm saying is the truth. Please believe me. Bang! A gunshot rang out. Zhang Yi only wanted to frighten him, making Xu Hao tremble, his face devoid of color. Mr. Zhang, please don't rush to a decision. I am not deceiving you. The information I just provided is completely accurate. Zhang Yi blew on the still smoking barrel of the gun and said coldly, Oh, then give me a convincing reason that you are not in league with Wang Ximing to harm me. Perhaps you might still have a chance to live. Xu Hao nodded and responded, I have seen your bravery. Following you, my chances of survival will be higher. Moreover, even if I were to serve Wang Ximing in his eyes, I would still just be someone easily bullied. In the past, due to my family's business, I had to be his subordinate, and I even had to offer my woman to him for his pleasure. Not just once, but every time he was in the mood, I had to bring women to him. Because of him, I became a laughingstock among the upper class in Tianhai City. In short, I really want to vent this anger. Zhang Yi smiled and asked, If I cooperate with you, how will you help me? Xu Hao replied, We can leverage my relationship with Wang Ximing. I will pretend to deceive him into letting you in, and then I will tell him to open the door. At that point, based on your skills, killing him will be simple. Zhang Yi thought for a moment and then asked further, What about the security system of that house? Specifically, how many traps and defensive weapons are there? Xu Hao began to set conditions. Before I tell you, you must agree to cooperate and ensure my safety afterwards. If not, I cannot disclose anything. Zhang Yi smiled wickedly. Can't you speak? Then what's the point of keeping you alive? Zhang Yi aimed his gun at his head again, but this time, Xu Hao responded quite boldly. Even if you kill me, it would be useless. I know that those who lose their value will be eliminated by you. The information about the safe house is my only hope for survival. Zhang Yi nodded and coldly said, You are quite smart. As for your conditions, I can agree. But there are a few rules you must follow. Xu Hao became delighted. All right, go ahead. Zhang Yi continued. First, you need to clearly explain all the situations regarding the safe house, especially the firepower system and security equipment. Xu Hao nodded. Of course. After the safe house was renovated, I visited and got a basic understanding of the situation. Zhang Yi went on. Second, I need you to help me kill someone. Xu Hao immediately agreed. That's easy. But Zhang, you can kill anyone you want. Why do you need me? Zhang Yi did not answer right away, simply saying, This person I cannot confront directly. Just wait for my news. Then he added, And the final condition, go upstairs first. I'll get something for you. Scene switches to upstairs. Xu Hao saw Zhang Yi holding a suitcase and curiously asked, What's in that carry-on suitcase? Is it equipment for special operations? Zhang Yi smiled and replied, You've probably guessed my identity by now. Although I don't want to reveal my identity and continue to carry out my mission, due to the special circumstances, I cannot expose my trump card. Xu Hao listened and thought to himself, Indeed, I've seen his extraordinary skills. He kills without batting an eye. He must be a high-level bodyguard or a retired mercenary. He truly is a king in this apocalypse. If I can follow him, I will definitely survive. Recalling the past, when he encountered some tough prisoners, he realized that dealing with such people required tougher measures. Zhang Yi held the syringe in front of him, making Xu Hao panic. Brother Zhang, what do you want to do? Zhang Yi sneered. This is a slow-acting poison that we often use. Once injected, it will take effect in a week. There is no antidote, and you will definitely die. Don't worry, as long as we capture Wang Ximing's stronghold, I will give you the antidote. Xu Hao, frightened, stepped back. Please don't come any closer. Immediately, Zhang Yi injected the drug into the back of his neck. Now we are like grasshoppers on the same string. Don't worry, as long as the time hasn't come, the drug won't take effect. Just listen to me, and whatever you want, you'll have. Su Hao was now extremely terrified, and Zhang Yi reassured him. I did this so that there would be no more doubts between us. If I die, you won't survive either. Go back now. If anything happens, I will give you instructions directly. Su Hao nodded. I understand. I'll contact Wang Siming as soon as I get back. We'll head over there quickly. At this moment, Zhang Yi thought to himself, the so-called slow-acting poison is just an excuse. This syringe actually contains ordinary flu medication to relieve pain and stop bleeding. Although it may cause reactions similar to poisoning if he believes it, the chances of betrayal later will be greatly reduced. Switching scenes to another room, Zhang Yi saw through the camera that Si Lai Mei was up to something. They were on the verge of death and still daring to take risks. Uncle Wang, you're awake. You really scared me. Luckily, you're okay. Thank goodness there's a doctor where you are, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to keep my life. I wonder how things are outside, but it's all right. Just stay here and rest. Si Lai Mei flattered him. Zhang Yi, you're treating my husband so well. Our family doesn't know how to thank you. From now on, our family will depend on you. Zhang Yi was contemplating his plan. He said, Sister Xi is absolutely right. From now on, the life of your family will be my responsibility. Uncle Wang hesitated to respond, Zhang Yi, this matter. Si Lai Mei's eyes lit up when she heard this, unaware that she was walking into a trap. Zhang Yi, you said it yourself. You can't regret it later. Zhang Yi confirmed, of course not. Si Lai Mei cheerfully said, then I will go back to get some daily necessities. Please hold my child for a moment, but don't lock me out. Zhang Yi showed his goodwill. Ha ha, what are you talking about? Am I that kind of person? Uncle Wang is still here. If I don't open the door for you, what would I think of Uncle Wan? Si Lai Mei laughed and said, all right then. Wait for me for a moment. I'll be right back. Right now, he is taking care of Wang Jiguang and his own child. There's no reason not to let me in. After Si Lai Mei left, Zhang Yi held the baby in one arm and texted Su Hao with the other. The person has gone out, finding opportunity to deal with it quickly. Playing with the child, Zhang Yi thought to himself, I originally intended to deal with both the child and Si Lai Mei, but in the end, I still couldn't do it. Later on, I'll find a woman to adopt the child. Returning home, Si Lai Mei opened the door, still lost in thought. Zhang Yi's home is so warm. I must stay here. Only then can I and my child continue to live. As soon as she stepped inside, she saw Su Hao waiting for her. She was startled, and before she could understand what was happening, Su Hao lunged at her chest and coldly said, Don't blame me. This is all your own doing. Then came a series of stabs. After confirming she was dead, Su Hao texted Zhang Yi to report. I'm done. When can I pick up the food? After reading the message, Zhang Yi turned to Uncle Wang and said, I've thought it through. Let Sister Xi take care of the baby here for now. When you've fully recovered and the baby is older, it won't be too late to move back home. Uncle Wang hesitated and replied, I'm sorry to trouble you so much. The supplies in my house are limited, and with 3 more people, just the coal for heating will cost a lot. Zhang Yi reassured him, just focus on your recovery. I will take care of everything else. Suddenly, the baby started crying loudly, leaving Zhang Yi confused about what to do. After a while of trying to soothe the child and experimenting with different methods, the baby still wouldn't stop crying. Zhang Yi sighed. Could it be that the baby is crying because it senses that Si Lai Mei is dead? Uncle Wang was also bewildered. I don't know. Usually, Si Lai Mei takes care of the child at home. Feeling helpless, Zhang Yi handed the baby to Zhou Kai Ni. You figure out how to calm this child. I don't know how to take care of kids. Zhou Kai Ni replied with a smile. I've never been a mother either. Maybe the baby needs a diaper change. Zhang Yi handed her a diaper with a wry smile. I'll leave it to you. He turned back to Uncle Wang and asked, Do you feel any changes in your body? Is the wound itchy? Uncle Wang replied, I feel weak all over, but the wound is very itchy. It must be healing. Zhang Yi reassured him. That's right. This phenomenon is quite normal. Suddenly, Uncle Wang asked, Why hasn't Si Lai Mei come back yet? It's chaotic out there. Could something have happened to her? Zhang Yi answered, I'll go outside to check. Kai Ni, please take care of Uncle Wang and the baby. Let me go see what's going on. The young man donned his armor, picked up his shield, and stepped outside. He called out, Everyone, gather at room 1301 on the 13th floor to receive supplies. I will divide the buildings in this apartment complex in the future. Whoever arrives first will choose first. If you don't want to die, stay obediently inside for me. All the other buildings have been destroyed by me. From now on, call the shots in this apartment complex. In room 1301, someone spoke up. We should support Zhang Yi as the leader of the apartment complex. He provides food and ensures safety, which is very fair. I believe he will agree. Anyway, the situation is stable now, so he probably doesn't want to disrupt it. Standing outside the door, Zhang Yi laughed lightly, hearing it clearly, still dreaming when death is imminent. Immediately afterward, the young man threw 2 grenades into the room. The people inside were startled by the objects rolling in. Holy shit. Bang. A loud explosion rang out, smoke and fire engulfing the area. The young man stood outside, using his shield for protection, then stepped inside. Looking at the scene before him, he sighed. The effect is quite good. One person, gasping for breath, weakly asked, "We helped you so much. Why do you want to kill us?" The young man coldly aimed the gun at him. "Helping me is the reason I have let you live until now. What is meant to happen will happen." Bang! A gunshot rang out, and then the young man casually walked outside. All the enemies from the previous life, except for Xu Hao, have been killed by me. Now there are only 5 survivors left in building number 25. He thought to himself, from now on, no one in this apartment complex will be able to threaten me anymore. This matter is over. Next, I will seize Wang Siming's head out and then disappear from these leisurely days. The young man returned to Uncle Wang's room with a sad expression. "Uncle Wang, I have bad news." "I have to tell you that, Sister Xi," Uncle Wang asked anxiously. "Xi Lai Mai, what happened to her?" Zhang Yi slowly recounted. "The neighbors have colluded with outsiders to kill us. Their main goal is to seize my supplies and housing. Although I have eliminated the traitors, there are still some who slipped through the net. They are afraid that I will seek revenge later, so they targeted Sister Xi." Uncle Wang clenched his fist in anger and blamed himself. "Tan, it's all my negligence." Zhang Yi comforted him. "This is not your fault. If anyone is to be blamed, it is me for not detecting it in time." Uncle Wang slammed his hand on the bed, creating a hole that demonstrated his strength. Zhang Yi thought to himself, indeed, it is transformative power, just adding to his own abilities. He continued, "Don't worry, I've taken care of those people. Consider it a way to comfort her soul in heaven." Uncle Wang blushed and replied, "Those damn people. I've done so much for them, yet they treated me like this." Zhang Yi offered more comfort. "I'm also responsible. I didn't expect them to lose their minds like that." "Don't be too pessimistic. I will find you a new bride, one more beautiful." Uncle Wang blushed again and said, "I prefer someone honest, skilled, and easier to take care of." Zhang Yi smiled. "I will definitely choose someone who will make you happy." Suddenly, Zhao Kai Ni's voice rang out, "Zhang Yi, the baby is crying again. What should we do now?" Zhang Yi looked at her, his gaze resting on her chest. It must be hungry. Zhao Kai Ni immediately reacted. "What are you thinking? I'm not breastfeeding. I don't have milk for the baby." Zhang Yi furrowed his brows. "Actually, it's not convenient to take the baby along right now. We need to find a trustworthy family to take care of the baby, providing some essentials for it. That way, there shouldn't be any problems." Then Zhang Yi carried the baby away from the house. The people in the other building saw him and whispered anxiously, "Zhang Yi is coming here to kill us." Zhang Yi fired a shot into the sky and shouted, "Li Jian, come out!" Li Jian came out and said, "I'm here." "Aren't you afraid I'll kill you?" Zhang Yi asked. "Aren't you afraid of being killed?" Li Jian replied, "I'm afraid, but being afraid doesn't help. I think you're not here to kill us today. Looking at you holding the baby, with your personality, you probably don't have that intention." Zhang Yi laughed. "That's right. I'm here to give you a child. Your building has the most people living in it, so from now on, this baby will be raised by you. In return, I will spare you." He handed a large bag to Lai Jian. This contains diapers, formula, and some food. Before leaving, he patted Lai Jian on the shoulder. "Remember that the baby was brought by me. If anything happens to it, you know the consequences." Li Jian quickly assured him, "Don't worry, we'll definitely take good care of the baby. Nothing will happen." After that, Lai Jian handed the child over to a woman. Zhang Yi looked around and asked, "How many people are still living in your building?" Li Jian replied, "There are still 66 people." Zhang Yi said, "How do you plan to live next? I will not provide food." Li Jian responded with determination, "There will be a way. We have lived until now, and we have faced more difficult situations before. I believe the heaven will not cut off the path for humanity. As long as we are alive, there is hope." Young man Zhang Yi pointed, "Actually, the food problem can be solved easily. Do you see those buildings that I burned down? The food inside should be enough for you to live for a while." Hearing these words, Lai Jian broke out in a cold sweat. "No, we will not reach that point. Once we make a mistake, the only outcome waiting for us in the end is destruction. Compared to that, it is better to preserve our dignity as humans and die. That way, at least our hearts will not be ashamed and will remain upright." Zhang Yi sighed. At this point, there are still people who can maintain their original intentions in front of me. Li Jian sincerely said, I also admire you very much, Zhang Yi. Thank you, but I admire you even more. You have the ability to ensure that you and those around you live well, something I am still quite far from. Zhang Yi, actually I have something to ask. Stop! I know what you want to say. Why, in the past, could you provide so much food? Now the number of survivors in the apartment complex is still just that. With your ability, managing this entire apartment complex well, you could definitely lead everyone to continue living. Zhang Yi coldly turned away. Forget it. Everyone has their own hardships. I'm not a deity. I can't help so many people. So what if I help? People remember to eat, but not to work hard like that. Who can ensure that I won't be bitten back? In chaotic times, taking care of oneself is already not easy. I have no great ambitions. Living well myself is the ultimate goal. Suddenly, several bags of seeds were thrown out. This is a farewell gift. Take it. Then the young man added, to be human, whatever you do, you must rely on yourself. You have moved me greatly, making me believe in the light of humanity in this apocalyptic era. So don't say that I haven't given you a chance. You can try to plant these seeds to sustain yourselves. If you could eat from them, that would be great. It's up to you to handle it. I can only help you this much. The group of people picked up the bags of seeds and asked each other, can these survive in extreme weather at minus 60 or 70 degrees? Professor G, an academician at the Agricultural Institute, told everyone, hurry and collect these seeds. If we can plant them, we won't have to worry about food anymore. Mr. G, can you really grow these food seeds? With such cold weather, do you have a way? If we have a chance, we must try. In general, we have to give it a shot. Even if the hope is very faint, what if we succeed? That we can continue to live. Hearing the professor say this, the group quickly went to collect everything. The simple matters of the apartment complex had finally come to a conclusion. Now they just needed to secure the new base. Zhang Yi returned with a seemingly better mood. Zhou Kai then asked, are you done with your work? All done. I'm just a bit hungry now. Upon hearing Zhang Yi say he was hungry, Zhou Kai replied, let me go cook. What do you want for lunch? Seeing Kai Ni's hot figure, Zhang Yi went over and hugged her tightly and replied quickly, Chef Shou not only cooks well, but is also beautiful. Can't you guess? I want to do it right now. Zhou Kai blushed with embarrassment. Ah, what do you want to do? Uncle Wang is right next to us. Once a young man wants something, there's no reason that can stop him. He confidently replied, it's fine. The walls in the house are soundproof. He won't hear anything. I still have to cook. Can't you wait a little longer? You just do your own thing and I'll do mine. It's okay. So they ended up getting intimate right in the kitchen, a new space, a new feeling. Quickly by the next morning, Zhang Yi took his phone to check Xu Hao's message. Brother Zhang, I've talked to the other side. When are we going? Zhang Yi quickly replied, come to my house, let's discuss it in detail. It seems we can't wait any longer. Soon, Xu Hao arrived at Zhang Yi's house. Have a seat. No rush, we can take our time talking. Brother Zhang, let me tell you about what I discussed with Wang Siming. There's no need to be so troublesome, just give me your phone. Hearing this, Xu Hao was shocked as if struck by lightning. What? You want to take my phone? That's right, I want to directly see your conversation with Wang Siming. Zhang Yi reached out and urged Xu Hao. Hurry up, give me your phone. You're not hiding something from me, are you? Xu Hao stammered, his hands tightly gripping the phone. No way, it's just. Losing patience, Zhang Yi grabbed him by the collar with one hand and pulled out a gun with the other, pressing it against his head to intimidate him. Can't you talk properly? Xu Hao panicked then explained, Brother Zhang, don't shoot. I spoke ill of you with Wang Siming, but that was just to trick him. Those words were not sincere. Xu Hao was drenched in sweat, holding out the phone to Zhang Yi. Stop talking so much. Zhang Yi snatched the phone, opened it, and read the messages between Xu Hao and Wang Siming. You guys contacted each other half a month ago? That trash thinks he can act high and mighty just because he has a gun. What gives him the right to stay in such a nice room? This kid is really vicious, killing dozens of people at once, not easy to deal with. Zhang Yi was a strong man, truly capable. Brother Siming, I can't handle him on my own, but if we join forces, it will definitely be no problem. Zhang Yi held the phone up to Xu Hao's face, glaring and asking, what do you have to say about this? Xu Hao's mouth dropped open, his hands and legs trembling, sweat pouring down like rain. Brother Zhang, listen to my explanation. You injected me with the drug. If you die, I can't live either. I said that to deceive him, to make him think I was his ally. I swear if I, Xu Hao, have any bad schemes against Brother Zhang, I will not die in peace. Even if I have to die, I will still obey you. Zhang Yi rested his chin on his hand and thought to himself, In the message, Zhu Hao still hadn't revealed his specific firepower and capabilities. Wang Siming only knew that this side was a stronghold with abundant supplies and had snowmobiles. Taking advantage of this misinformation to catch fish in troubled waters could be successful. After thinking that, Zhang Yi put the phone down on the table and turned to Zhu Hao. Then tell me the specific situation of that shelter, especially things like weapons and defensive facilities. Not a single word should be missing. At that moment, Zhu Hao finally breathed a sigh of relief. I have heard that the shelter was renovated using materials from spacecraft. Unless a nuclear weapon is dropped on it, there's almost no way to break even a corner of it. Of course, if heavy firepower is used from the outside over time and a large amount of manpower persistently attacks, it can still be breached. There are no heavy weapons in the shelter, but the room is equipped with anesthetic gas sprayers and the entrance hallway is equipped with high-temperature flamethrowers. When activated, it can immediately spray fire at a temperature close to 2,000 degrees. At this moment, Zhang Yi thought to himself that Wang Siming's target was his snowmobile and the supplies he had on hand. If he couldn't get them, it wouldn't matter if he killed himself. So when he got over there, he would take back the snowmobile. In this way, the worst outcome would be that I get caught, but he wouldn't kill me because, for him, my life or death was unimportant. The biggest threat from that shelter actually came from the traps in the corridor leading in. That's right. I'll pretend to cooperate with Wang Siming. At that moment, you pretend to be captured by him. If he wants to keep you around for interrogation, then I can also pretend to faint from the gas-emitting device. Once we successfully navigate through the traps, then it's internal and external with you, killing him. That's right, I had this idea. After we get there, you pretend to be captured and then I'll seize the opportunity to strike him, killing him. Zhang Yi stared intently into Zhu Hao's eyes, thinking to himself, it seems better not to let him know I have a gas mask for now. Zhang Yi leaned back on the sofa, frowning as he thought about fire and gas. If there was a way to completely solve this problem, that would be great. Suddenly, he thought of something. The young man stood up and raised his hand high. That's right. Why didn't I think of this before? Time in the virtual space is static. I had always seen it as a space for storing items. If it could be utilized in actual combat, wouldn't it become an incredibly powerful fighting force? If we could really tap into the power of this strange energy, then the harvest would definitely exceed our imagination. After thinking for a moment, Zhang Yi turned to Zhu Hao and said, you should go back and wait for my news first. In a few days, I will give you an answer. With the poison in his body manifesting, Zhu Hao hurriedly clutched Zhang Yi's leg and pleaded, no, brother Zhang, even if I can wait, the poison in my body cannot wait. What are you afraid of? I said the poison will recur in 7 days, and that's exactly 7 days. It could take as long as 3 days or as short as 1 or 2 days, and I will definitely give you an answer. Just rest assured and wait. Then I will go back and wait for your answer. As he reached the door, Zhu Hao, still looking worried, called back. You must contact me. Go on. Zhang Yi muttered while looking at the psychic energy he had gathered in his palm. In the future, there will be time. I must invest my mental and physical energy into it to develop my abilities. Who knows, apart from virtual space and a few minor skills, there may be other fields waiting for me to explore. But right now, I need to think about how to use my abilities to block the attack method at Wang Siming's hideout. Then Zhang Yi stood up, concentrated his energy in his palm, creating a bright spark. When the gas and fire were expelled from the trap at high temperatures, it could be considered a proactive attack directed at him. Therefore, when obtained, there would be no obstacles. Then, the young man used his other hand to create another spark. The two sparks merged into one, forming a large fire that was hot enough to melt fat. In theory, it was completely achievable. Saying this, Zhang Yi gathered the fire back. In the virtual space, lying in an absolutely motionless or absolutely closed state, Zhang Yi was practicing fire control skills. Under the condition of maintaining an unchanging state, all he needed to do was change direction, causing the vector to change. He could even send the object that attacked him back to its original place. Wasn't this a counterattack skill? Thinking of this, Zhang Yi happily jumped up like a child who found candy. Using the virtual space this way really was an absolute defense capability. Next, he needed to master this skill proficiently. Then in the future, any ranged attack would be ineffective against him. However, what would happen if he used this ability on humans? Previously, he had only tested it on ordinary fish. But now, thinking about combat, he had to conduct experiments on living people. So Zhang Yi stood with his arms crossed and said to his neighbor, being pushed by the neighbor to confront me, you are quite unfortunate, but it is also an opportunity. The young man threw a stick and continued, take it and attack me. Next came the provocation from Zhang Yi. As long as you can hit me once, I will reward you with a piece of bread. The neighbor hesitated for a moment, stammering, This is what you said. The neighbor rushed forward with a stick, and the young man Zhang Yi quickly prepared to open the space warehouse. Seeing the log being sucked away, the neighbor was also panic-stricken. Noticing the unstable situation, the neighbor intended to run away, but the young man had already pulled him into the virtual space. Could he still run? Very soon, in the blink of an eye, the neighbor was sucked inside. The neighbor stood frozen like a statue. Zhang Yi stroked his chin and thought, he doesn't move. It seems that living beings entering this space would fall into a completely motionless state. The young man also reached out to check the neighbor's breath and pulse. Both breathing and heartbeat had stopped. So what happens after leaving the space? Wanting to know the result, the young man released the neighbor from the space warehouse. He gasped in fear. I thought I was definitely going to die. It seems there is still an effect on living beings. After a certain amount of time, they may no longer survive. What did you feel just now? I felt like I had entered a completely white world. Supplies were piled up like mountains. It seemed I had been in there for a century. That possibility is quite scary. I must have seen hallucinations. So it turns out the flow of time in virtual space is countless times slower than in the outside world. This means that the longer a living being is in virtual space, the greater the chance of mental collapse. If we can't suck living objects in, then what if we cut off a part of them? As soon as he finished speaking, the young man cut off 2 fingers of the neighbor. He cried out in pain, my hand. Try this first. A living person cannot recover like a severed finger. What is the principle behind that? The young man Zhang Yi threw out a roll of gauze and said, after treating the wound, let's continue. This time you use this to attack me. After several experiments, the young man Zhang Yi concluded, we need to conduct a few more experiments. The desired actual data has already been clarified. We have also grasped quite a few characteristics of the virtual space. While the man was eating the food that Zhang Yi provided, he kept praising it. So delicious, so sweet. I haven't had normal food like this in a long time. The range of material acquisition has certain limitations. It cannot absorb objects with strong external force, and it is ineffective against living people. My supernatural ability can open a passage connecting the real world and the virtual space, shifting the incoming attack, then adjusting the vector direction to shoot back out. Next, I know how to deal with the Wang Siming shelter now. Thank you for your help. It's nothing. It's nothing. I should thank you for giving you food. As soon as the man finished his sentence, the young man swung a knife and struck. The unfortunate man quickly became a ghost that had not yet been satisfied. You have already paid the price. It's time to move on after you finish eating. At the last moment, the unfortunate man was still caught up in a few thoughts. Do I really have to die in the end? Finally, I can escape from this cruel world. After that, the young man Zhang Yi coldly left. In the following days, he needed to quickly find a few people to conduct a real combat exercise. Preparing early would ensure certainty when the time came. 3 days later, Zhang Yi said to Xu Hao, we can leave now. Recently, Xu Hao was eating even better than before, yet he still looked like this. It seemed that the psychological impact had truly tortured him. I can inject you with an antidote. This can temporarily stop your illness. It's just scaring myself, but what I want is this effect. Xu Hao, upon hearing this, was extremely anxious and rolled up his sleeves. Inject me. Give me a dose. This can stop your illness, but at most it will only last 5 days. You will still be poisoned and die. You better pray that this operation succeeds, otherwise neither of us will end up well. Don't worry, Zhang. I, Xu Hao, won't joke with my own life. This time I am determined to follow you. That's best. Seeing the young man Zhang Yi preparing his things and backpack with the intention of going out, Zhou Kai Ni immediately asked, has the issue in the apartment complex been resolved? Where do you want to go? The young man quickly replied, to a better place. Putting on his backpack, the young man continued, don't ask too much. When the time is right, I'll tell you. I've left enough supplies for you and Uncle Wang to manage for half a month, just in case something unexpected happens to me. Upon hearing this, Zhou Kai Ni rushed over and hugged Zhang Yi with a worried expression. Zhou Kai Ni asked Zhang Yi, you won't be doing anything dangerous, will you? Gently lifting Zhou Kai Ni's chin with his hand, Zhang Yi calmly said, don't worry, I've never done anything I wasn't sure about. I'm more afraid of death than anyone else. I won't put myself in danger. After that, the young man also caressed her, just a personal habit of his to prepare well beforehand. He quickly gave Zhou Kai Ni a passionate kiss. Zhou Kai Ni felt very anxious of these gestures from Zhang Yi. Her heart was unsettled. This afternoon, I have something very important to do. When I come back, we'll continue. When the young man Zhang Yi left, it was also the moment when Zhou Kai Ni could no longer stand still. She unconsciously replied, After leaving, the young man Zhang Yi took out his sled. Xu Hao was also by his side. Zhang Yi then took out a rope and said to Xu Hao, Put your hand here. Why do you still not trust me? I am really on your side, and I have poison on me. There is no special reason. It's just like this. I feel better this way. Moreover, when we face Wang Siming, he will have a higher level of trust when he sees you tied up. The young man quickly tied Xu Hao's hands, and both of them rushed quickly on the sled. Brother, the wind hitting my face hurts too much. Do you have a helmet? Just endure it a bit. If you look a little more miserable, it will seem more real. After a while, they arrived at the villa area. Looking around the terrain, Zhang Yi thought to himself. In front was a river, behind was a mountain. Even the feng shui had been pointed out by experts. The buildings were also more luxurious than those in other places. The terrain made this place a natural snow shelter. The snow was much shallower than in other areas. The young man mumbled, I originally thought that when the apocalypse struck, it would be fair to most people. But now I see that even the heavens favor the rich more. Shu Hao sat in the snowmobile and interrupted. What's the point? The people with money here are nothing compared to Zhang. Stop flattering and follow me inside. The young man quickly packed up the snowmobile and walked. Seeing this, Xu Hao wondered, why not drive straight in? Walking means we still have to cover some distance. The young man retorted, I told you to go, so just go. Why are you being so talkative? Earlier, from inside looking out at the snowmobile, the red-haired girl thought, the snowmobile can still operate in this situation. They must have plenty of supplies. The coal is almost burned out, and the food ran low 3 days ago. People nearby are in the same situation. We can only hope for help from outsiders. It seems that in order to survive, I must take a chance. Is this the hideout you mentioned? The young man Zhang Yi pointed the gun at Xu Hao and shouted, Go over there and open the door for me. Xu Hao trembled. Don't rush. Wait a moment, I will open the door. From inside, Wang Siming was observing through the camera and clearly saw the situation with Zhang Yi. He agreed time was tomorrow, but the other side had come here today. Wait, something's not right. Where's the snowmobile? Young man Zhang Yi acted very deeply, but in fact, this was also the truth, not just acting. Zhang Yi continued to shout loudly, Damn, if you dare to deceive me, do you believe I will shoot you dead? Xu Hao quickly replied, No, don't shoot. I can open the door and let me try again. After working hard for so long, it can't be in vain. Otherwise, I won't find such a good opportunity again later. If you dare to play tricks, I will immediately burn you all to ash. A door slowly opened, and then Zhang Yi and Xu Hao entered inside. Looking around as they walked, young man Zhang Yi thought, Indeed, with money, you can do whatever you want. Brother Zhang, let's go inside. There's another door. Once it is opened, we can enter the hiding place. Zhang Yi and Xu Hao continued on. Wang Siming thought, You have fallen into a trap. Suddenly, several holes opened up in the ceiling. Zhang Yi was startled. What? Quickly, toxic gas spewed out from inside. Xu Hao hurriedly covered his mouth and nose. Meanwhile, Zhang Yi looked up, and at this moment, the smoke was thick and obscured. Wang Siming looked through the camera screen and saw only a whiteout. Only the sounds of insults exchanged between Zhang Yi and Xu Hao could be heard. Xu Hao shouted, Son of a bitch, open the door quickly. If not, I will kill you. Ha ha ha. Zhang Yi, stop resisting. If you can kill me, we'll die too. Just accept your fate. I don't need your life. I only want your supplies. Dream on. I will kill you now. If you have the guts, pull the trigger. If you kill me, don't expect to live. Then a series of fighting sounds erupted. Wang Siming, hearing this, was very pleased. It's time to catch the two rabbits. At this moment, the young man Zhang Yi was wearing a gas mask and using virtual space to suck in the smoke. The door gradually opened and a figure was entering. Zhang Yi thought to himself, As soon as Wang Siming comes out, I can shoot him immediately. At this moment, a person entered holding a knife and a rope, but Zhang Yi quickly realized it was not Wang Siming. Zhang Yi pretended to fall down. He thought to himself, The useless Xu Hao is so stupid. The intel before never mentioned that there were others in the shelter. The man walked over to check on the condition of Zhang Yi and Xu Hao. Zhang Yi recognized him as the famous star Jensen in the entertainment industry, rumored to have a close relationship with Wang Siming. No wonder he could get in here. After that, he carried both of them to another room. Jensen threw them down and said, I brought the people. With everything going so smoothly, Jensen felt pleased. This guy is really clueless. It didn't even take any effort to deal with him. Wang Siming responded, Isn't this all part of the plan? If we can't handle this unknown poor guy, wouldn't my $10 billion just go down the drain? Jensen quickly tied Zhang Yi's hands tightly. After we get this kid's snowmobile, let's go outside for a stroll. Okay. I wonder what the situation is like out there. It's nice to get some fresh air and maybe find some food to bring back. At that moment, Zhang Yi released the toxic gas he had inhaled into the storage space earlier. Breathing in the toxic gas, both of them began to sway. Wang Siming asked in confusion, "Jengson, why are you swaying like that?" Jengson replied, "I'm not swaying, it's you. Why do you look like there are 6 of you now?" The young man Zhang Yi took a knife from the space storage and cut the ropes binding them. Standing up, he thought to himself, "Now it's my turn to catch you without any effort." At this moment, Wang Siming and Jengson were lying on the floor, defeated. Zhang Yi quickly tied the 2 of them tightly, wrapping them up as if afraid they would escape. Taking 2 guns, the young man muttered, "They look valuable, but they're actually useless." After that, the young man opened the door and went for a walk. Truly a billionaire's house. Just the living room alone is so luxurious that it makes one drop their jaw. Then moving quickly to another room, he opened the door. This is the renovated shelter worth $10 billion. It really is a miniature ecological model. A nice place, but from now on, it's mine. Zhang Yi went straight up the stairs. Game room, pet room, entertainment room, bedroom. As Zhang Yi looked into the bedroom, he saw several girls dressed scantily lying around. It seemed that things here were not as peaceful as he had imagined. The young man thought to himself, all the animals downstairs have been dealt with by Wang Siming. Does he even have the mood to keep these animals? In front of Zhang Yi was the room for dogs and cats. Curious, Zhang Yi pushed the door open to take a look. As soon as he opened the door, a scene hit him. It was a scene filled with underwear, bras, syringes, along with girls lying drugged out. Seeing Zhang Yi enter, a girl tried to crawl over and plead, "Wang, young master, we know we were wrong. We were wrong." The girl clutched Zhang Yi's leg, begging pitifully, "You can make us do anything. Please let us go outside. If not, then just a little, just a little." But unfortunately, coldly, Zhang Yi kicked the girl away. I can basically guess what the corpses in the next room are like. Thinking this, the young man fired a few shots. When he reached the control room, it seemed quieter. The central area of the shelter must be here. If only I were a computer engineer. There is even a gym downstairs, just right for shooting practice to later test my skills. The young man walked down the hallway trying to open a few doors, but none would open. Identity verification failed. Access to this passage is currently unavailable. It seems that to know how to use this shelter, he must ask its owner, Wang Siming. Saying this, Zhang Yi returned to the room and splashed 2 cups of cold water on the faces of the 2 bound individuals. "Are you awake? How could you manage? To survive in the apocalypse, you need to have some skills." Saying that, Zhang Yi pulled out a gun and pointed it straight at Wang Siming's face. "It seems you are not free to talk about this right now, right? How about we discuss something else, like how you should cooperate with me in the future, so you can exchange your life for something better?" Wang Siming panicked, sweating profusely. "What do you want to do?" "Can we negotiate? As long as you don't harm our lives." The young man Zhang Yi, sitting relaxed on the chair, said, "To be straightforward, my purpose for coming here is to find a safe place to continue surviving. It's too dangerous outside, supplies are lacking, and the temperature is cold. In your large place, hiding you wouldn't be much trouble, right?" Wang Siming listened to Zhang Yi and replied, "So you just want to move in here. Don't you want to deal with me?" "Then be the master of this place," Zhang Yi responded. "Do I really need to deal with you? Your place is so big that even with 100 people here, it would still be spacious. I'm not the kind of person who kills for no reason. Besides, I hope to take this opportunity to befriend young Master Wang a bit." That's right. This snowstorm is indeed very troublesome, but this kind of unusual meteorological phenomenon cannot continue for too long. Sooner or later, society will restore its original order. As a small person in society like me, if I could be friends with a wealthy person like Wang, and with his consideration in the future, wouldn't I be able to rise to great heights in no time? That's only natural. As long as I consider it a bit, I can make you a person at the pinnacle of glory. Wang Siming thought to himself, it seems he believes the snowstorm will pass quickly. That would be the best. For now, he still has a taboo against order and doesn't dare to kill me. What do you want? The items in this house, I can let you choose freely. If you have made up your mind to cooperate with me, my requests are not many. We can stay here together in the future, but before that, please hand over the book explaining the use of the system of the shelter to me. If I agree to give you the book explaining the use of the system of the shelter, hey, you guarantee that you won't kill us? I said it before, Zhang Yi is not someone who kills without reason. Moreover, after the snowstorm passes, I hope to become your friend. Wang Siming was sweating, thinking for a moment, all right, I will let you know. Soon both of them arrived at the computer system. He quickly clicked on a hidden file. The book explaining the use of the shelter's system started up. Very good. From now on, the master of this shelter will officially become Zhang Yi. So, is there no problem with the verification? Hurry up and untie me. I feel completely numb all over. The young man smiled wickedly. All right, just wait a moment. Immediately after, he pulled out a knife and proceeded to cut, but not the rope. He cut Wang Siming's throat. Blood splattered everywhere. Zhang Yi, the young man, even appeared to comfort. Relax, take a deep breath. It's just like this. At the beginning, you might feel a bit dizzy, but that's completely normal. Soon, you won't feel any pain anymore. In the last seconds of his life, Wang Siming asked, I did as you said, so why do you still want to kill me? Zhang Yi replied, I'm sorry, I have no reason to keep a useless person like you alive, right? The young man Zhang Yi then cleaned up the scene, wiping away the blood. While wiping, Zhang Yi looked at Chu Hao. The two most troublesome people have been dealt with. Now killing him is as easy as turning over my hand. At that moment, Chu Hao had just woken up, slowly opening his eyes. Where is this? Seeing Zhang Yi cleaning up, Chu Hao was startled. Brother Zhang, you did it. How did you deal with him? The young man Zhang Yi replied calmly. Everything needs to be planned clearly. What is a mere Wang Siming anyway? There are some things you don't need to know in detail. Chu Hao kicked Wang Siming's corpse and cursed. Son of a bitch! Ha ha ha, I never expected I would get to kick you like this. Ha ha ha, the young man Zhang Yi pointed to the backpack. These things are your reward, open it and take a look. Hearing this, Chu Hao immediately walked over to the backpack and opened it. It was full of food. Chu Hao quickly took a bite of a chicken leg. Brother Zhang, you are truly my biological brother. If you need me to do anything in the future, just let me know. As long as I frown once, then I am not a person. Zhang Yi asked back, really? Zhang Yi continued, I have checked all the remaining supplies in the shelter. Aside from the leftover canned food that Wang Siming wasted, there is nothing else. The energy source to keep the shelter functioning normally is only enough for 5 years. After sharing with you, there won't be much left. Hearing Zhang Yi say this, Chu Hao was shocked and fell back. What? Wait, Brother Zhang, what do you mean? The young Zhang Yi coldly replied, I don't understand why, but before we arrived, Wang Siming had already wasted more than half of the resources in the shelter. Can you manage to get these things to extend our survival for a while? This is impossible. Chu Hao couldn't believe Zhang Yi's words as he had previously been dreaming of illusions. You must have secretly hidden the good stuff. He can't treat you like this. Then he lost his composure and pointed directly at Zhang Yi's face. Are you trying to deceive me? As long as you make me think that the supplies in this shelter are completely depleted and drive me out, then you can take this place for yourself. Then he angrily threw the backpack of food aside. I'm not going. The intelligence of the shelter is what I provided you. Now you want to kick me out? No way. Zhang Yi tried to calmly continue. Lie to you? Do I need to? Who knows? The people in the apartment complex have all been fooled by you going around in circles, right? Let me tell you, if you dare to speak without keeping your word, I'll expose your occupying this place and your superpower to everyone. By then, even if it's not me, someone will deal with you. Hearing Chu Hao loudly threatening to reveal his secret to everyone, the young man Zhang Yi just said, oh. The young man quickly pulled out his gun, bang. A gunshot rang out. Then I have no reason to keep your life anymore. Chu Hao fell backward, blood splattering, dying with his eyes open. Then the young man added a line for Chu Hao. Anger won't make you strong. You need real power. The young man collected the backpack of food, originally planning to let him live a little longer, but why did he keep trying to find his own way to death?